Hello friends, welcome to another video. Today we are doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be giving you a review of the Atoto P9. Now on Amazon this is listed as a car stereo, but it's way more than that. It's way more than any car stereo I ever owned as a kid. This is something that you add to your car. It is a dash mounted device that will connect to your car's stereo through an auxiliary cable, through Bluetooth, through an FM transmitter, and it's going to give you CarPlay access. It's going to give you, whether you have an Android or iPhone, it's all going to connect to this. This is going to connect to your car stereo, and it is going to unlock a million things, including something I'm kind of interested in checking out. This has ChatGPT built into it. So before we hook it up and everything, we're going to do an unboxing here. As you can see, this is a very nice box from Atoto. I do have to say that Atoto sent this to me for free to review in exchange for a series of videos. So that's what we're going to be doing today. The lid lifts right off the box. That is really nice. This feels very iPhone-like in the way that this is packaged. So right on top here, what we have is the device itself. It is wrapped. It looks like there's a couple layers, like we have plastic surrounding it, and then probably a screen protector on the front of that. But this is the Atoto P9. This is a 9-inch, what do you want to call it? It is a stereo in and of itself. It does have speakers. You could use this by itself, but it's designed to connect to your car stereo. But really, this is a 9-inch Android tablet. It's just been adapted to work for cars. So while we're unwrapping stuff, let's just go ahead, kind of doing this out of order. Probably should get everything else that's out of the box. But you know what? I'm excited to see this thing. Now, I can tell you that there's one controversial decision that they made on the P9, something that they changed from the P8, and we will be talking about that. And that comes into how this installs in your car, but we'll get to that. As you can see on the back here, we just have a single power connector, and this is what our power cables are going to connect to. On the side here, we have lots of things to play with. We have USB ports, we have micro SD card slots, we have all kinds of fun stuff that we can plug into this that's really going to turn our car stereo into a complete computer-based entertainment center. Again, lots of fun little protectors. We have a manual right here, which a lot of times on these things, manuals are awesome, but this thing has so many features that is so advanced that I'm definitely going to be going through those. Here are all the other goodies that come with it. I'm going to set this aside for just a minute because I know what some of these things are, and I don't know what some of these things are. So you know what? We're just going to go nutso and start installing stuff. So this is all our wiring kit. This is the first thing that I want to get to. My goodness, you get a lot of accessories with this thing. So I will just show you that the box here, everything is in different compartments. Everything's separated. Everything is in little baggies. So that's kind of handy. This is what we're going to use to install it on our dash. This is designed to be installed on your car's dash and then hang out forward, because if you look at this, I mean, it is a very large device. So you don't want this up here where you can't see when you're driving, so you're probably going to want to put it maybe where it hangs down over the front of your dash. So that's what this is going to allow us to do. This is going to stick to our dash, and then it's going to attach with a suction cup. So we're going to be installing this in just a few minutes, so we'll get to that. Next up, is our suction cup mount. So as you can see here, we've got, there's a lot of different positions that you can put this thing in, but we're going to put it on our dash. This is obviously can be put in a lot of different positions. And then we've got one of these little ball connectors, which if you're familiar with these type of devices, we also have this mount. So this mount, This side of it is going to go on the back of the device. This is going to go into this ball joint so that we can position it any way that we want in our vehicle. One of the nice things about these things is they're very adaptable, configurable, so no matter what kind of vehicle you have, no matter how your dash is shaped or how far away things are or whatever, there's always a good way to mount these types of devices. Now, this is getting into our wiring kit. And so let's talk a little bit about how this device wires up and why it may end up being a little bit controversial for people. The way that this is designed to be wired directly into your vehicle. So what that means is we get all these little wiring adapters, and these adapters are made with little piggyback fuse adapters. I don't know if you can see these. I'll show you some close-ups of these. But what this is designed to do is to put this wireless directly into the fuse box of your vehicle. And why is that? Well, if you're familiar with these types of devices, you know that because it's running Android on a tablet, it takes a certain amount of time to boot up. I believe that the P8, the previous version of this, took about 8 seconds to turn on. So with this new wiring design, what they're trying to do is you have two different wires. One is an accessory, so when you start your car, turn your key into the on position, this will turn on. But the other one, it goes to something that's always hot underneath your dash. So it always has a little bit of power. So what it's doing, instead of doing a full 10-second boot cycle, it's only going to take like 1 or 2 seconds to be fully ready for you to use. Now, the trade-off for that is that you're going to be wiring this, hardwiring this into your vehicle. And Atoto has some videos on YouTube for you to watch, some installation videos, and they show how to wire this in. It shows using a multimeter to find which fuses are accessory or which ones are always battery plus, which is always a 12-volt signal. So that's the trade-off. The trade-off for having a faster booting device is having to wire that into your car. Now, that's something that you probably want to know before purchasing this, because that's not in everybody's wheelhouse. Now, I grew up in the 80s. I had a lot of cars. I bought car stereos at garage sales, wired stuff up, wired speakers up. Not a big deal for me. I have a soldering iron sitting right over here. So it's not an issue for me, but I don't know that it's made very clear in the Amazon ad that that's what you're going to have to do to install this. Now, we get lots of long wires, as you can see here, because the idea, if you're going to put this in your dash, we're going to have to run these wires and hide them and go all around our dash and get down to where our fuses and stuff are. So they've included everything that you need to wire this to your car. If you're a Gen Xer like I am, either you can do this or you know some guy, whoever that guy was that was your friend that was always wiring stuff up. I mean, this is not a difficult install, but it's not going to be instant. Another thing to point out is that they've included multiple different shapes and sizes of fuses to put into your car. So no matter what your car's fuses look like, if you have, this is the type that are in my car, but I guess these are probably for either different types of cars or maybe even different countries. No matter what you have, they've included multiple pairs of these so you can find the one that fits your car and wire this directly in. Here, we obviously have a camera. This is going to wire up as well into our tablet, into our P9, and then we've got some more wires here. I should probably keep everything in the piles that they came in because I'm kind of mixing all this stuff together. We also have right here a microphone. Now, you know, sometimes, especially in a car with car noise and things like that, like it's hard to do commands because that's one of the things this is going to give you is a lot of voice commands. You know, if you have an iPhone and you use Siri to get directions or things like that, you're going to get all that on this device. And so here is a microphone that comes with this. You can put this microphone up here, you know, on your sun visor. You can mount it on the dash. You can put it right there in front of your steering wheel, whatever you want to do. But it's got another long cable bundled up here so we can put that microphone wherever we want. And I'm looking for the one other thing that I saw in the ad, and it is right here. This is pretty cool. This is your steering wheel control system. So we can mount this on our steering wheel. We can mount it somewhere else. We've got a little watch battery that comes with it. We've got a little sticky sticker, the sticky sticker, where we can mount this. It doesn't have to go on your steering wheel. It almost has like what looks like a watch band. So you can wrap this around your steering wheel, and you've got all your controls for play and pause music, to adjust volume, things like that. But I have seen other people where they've installed this like on their center console or somewhere else, wherever it's convenient where you're driving and you can do controls. It seems like putting a large screen in front of your face while driving is going to distract you from driving, but that's not the intent, as you can see with all these things, with a control that you can do while you're driving with your thumb, or maybe it's down here, you know, once you, just like a remote control, once you learn where all the buttons are, you're not going to be looking at it to control stuff. So with the voice commands, the microphone and the stuff like that, it's really designed for you to be able to access things without, you know, being distracted while you're driving. However, this also allows you to install basically any app from the Android App Store or from Google's App Store. Plus, you're going to have ChatGPT, so there will be plenty of things to distract you. So let's gather all this stuff up, head out to the car, and get this thing installed. So it took me about an hour, but I did finally get the Atoto wired up to the car. I would say this is a intermediate wiring job, definitely not for basic beginners. It's not that difficult to do, but you are going to have to access the fuse panel in your car. You're also going to have to know which fuses to hook these wires to. So again, this thing is designed to wire directly into your car. It does not come with a cigarette lighter adapter. The P8, the previous model, did. This model does not. And I checked with the company, and they do not offer the cigarette lighter or 12-volt adapter separately. So the wires that come with this, again, as I showed in the previous spot, they have piggyback fuses, and so what you need to do is find a battery, like a fuse that's always hot in your car, and one that comes on with accessory power. Now, on the videos, on their installation videos, they recommend using a voltmeter or multimeter to find those fuses. If you know anything about cars, you probably know which fuses are always going to be hot and which ones are only going to come on when the keys are on. But if you don't know for sure, you can do that testing. But you are going to be running wires through your car. Now, as you can see, some of the wires hanging down on my installation. I'm not completely finished yet, but I did get it wired up. And the advantage of wiring it up this way instead of using the cigarette lighter adapter is that it is always getting a low amount of electricity. Now, that is not going to drain your battery or anything like that, but what it allows to do is it allows this device to do what's called a fast boot. So it comes on in about 2 seconds. The old model took about 10 seconds to boot up. So this thing, once you hop in the car, you turn your key on before you put it in gear, this thing is ready to go. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about all the apps that come with this, the things that it can do, the things you can install. We're going to get into all of that on the next video, but very briefly, I will show you this. When it comes up to the main screen here, you can see, oh, I got to put my glasses on. That it's looking for your Bluetooth. So obviously this can connect to your phone through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It has lots of connectivity choices for however you want to wire this up. You can connect to Bluetooth to your stereo, which is what I've done, and Bluetooth to your phone. So that way you can play music or use Siri or anything like that on your phone, but you're going to be going through this, and it will route that through your car stereo. So this thing really becomes the centerpiece of your entertainment system. I want to mention that this has its own GPS built in, so you can use Google Maps or Apple Maps or any of those things, but it has a GPS built in. So if you are like me, you go off the beaten path a little bit, you go to places where you may not get GPS signal, this will still function. You will still, just like one of those old school GPSs that has GPS built in. It also has a SIM card slot built in. So if you, and it doesn't come with a SIM card, but if you buy a SIM card and put it in, this thing will have its own cellular connection. So it will function, it'll be able to do everything without needing to hook to your phone. The processor on this thing is super snappy. I believe it's an 8-core Android processor. I'll put the details down in the show notes down there, but you know, it boots right up. Everything seems really fast. Like I said, I'm going to get into all the apps and all the stuff you can do on the next video, but just to show you real quick what's on the main screen up here, down at the bottom, of course, you've got make your phone calls, you got your audio stuff. Another thing I want to mention about this real quick is that the screen has an auto brightness sensor. So when it gets dark, it lights up. When you hit it out in sunlight or whatever, it dims. It just makes it super easy to see. It's always adjusting. So I really like that about it. Of course, you got your maps, your music, and your settings. And then up here, you got your Bluetooth settings. Torque is an app where if you have a Bluetooth OBD sensor for your car, which I do, you can hook it up. It'll tell you all the stuff about your car, like all the stats, anything, you know, if you have a light on your dash and you want to know what that's all about, this thing, you know, the app will do all that stuff. You got your DVR cam. If I didn't mention in the unboxing, this has forward-facing and rear-facing cameras. You can have a forward-facing cam and a backup cam, and you can control both of those and view those on the screen. So you can see we've got the apps. My car here is dying to get going and test this thing out, and I am too. You got an HDMI in port, so if you have a Nintendo Switch or something like that, I have a little game system, you could hook up and use this screen for that. That's super cool. Also, over here, you got a few different apps you'll probably recognize. You got Chrome, you got YouTube, you got the Play Store. Anything you can install on the Google Play Store on an Android app, you can install on this. And again, you also get all your CarPlay apps. You get, you know, the screen mirroring. This thing does all that stuff built in. You got your Pandora, you got your Spotify, the maps. Again, I don't want to get into too many of the apps because I'm going to be showing that, but I just want to show you how snappy this screen is. Notice it's you know, super reactive, zoom in, zoom out on the maps, and everything that you do works the exact same way on this. So like I said, in the next video, I'll get a little bit more into the apps. If you are familiar with Android tablets, you already know how to do all this stuff. You know, you can go back to the other screen, you could go back to the main screen, and here in the settings, of course, you've got all your normal settings and stuff. Again, I'm so excited about this thing that I want to get into the apps, but I'm going to do that on the next video. So a little bit more difficult to install than just like you know, a normal GPS or something like that. You're not just going to plug this into your cigarette lighter adapter. You're going to have to do a little bit of wiring, but the faster speed is probably worth it. What that means is that you can't switch it back and forth between cars, and that's really kind of the bummer for me, because this is my daily driver. I feel like this is where I'm going to get the most use out of this thing. But on the weekends when I take my van out, that's where I'd really like to have the GPS functions and, you know, being able to watch videos while I'm parked and things like that. So it's really a toss-up which vehicle that I put it up in. But right now I wanted to install it in my daily driver. So anyway, in the next video, we'll get into all those fun features. So check back here in about a week. I'm going to really give this thing the road test, run through everything, and give you my honest opinion on if it's worth purchasing and what all this thing can do. So check out that video next.